In all of these situations, it's only the artist that's losing. Somebody makes big money. When these rappers get killed, not incidental.
And 8052, shooting just occurred. Approximately 10 shots heard and an unknown person shouting code 3 incident 1920 RV 809 semi for additional.
People are alleging is Rihanna is a key material witness into this whole trafficking scheme or plot or whatever that Roc Nation and Jay-Z himself have been carrying out.
Guys, things are getting very scary because people have now put together that both Rihanna and Nicki Minaj's homes in California have both been targeted recently.
On March 8th, 2026, a woman identified as Ivanna Ortiz drove up to Rihanna's residence in Beverly Hills carrying an AR-15 and fired roughly between 7 and 10 shots toward the mansion while Rihanna and her 3 children were inside. Fortunately, no one was struck. Right after the incident, the public explanation was straightforward. Authorities said the woman was an obsessed fan caught in a parasocial fixation. End of story. And if you watch the news reports, you probably noticed clips taken from Ivanna's social media pages. And yes, she absolutely appears and sounds deeply unstable. In videos, Ivanna called Rihanna a witch and devil, claiming jealousy toward.
Listen, Rihanna, when you die, God is taking me to my future. You want to kill me. Shut the f*** up. Okay? Shut the f*** up. Yeah, she's a witch. She's a witch. I'm a watchman. She's a witch. Get that stupid girl out of here. Okay? They can't do this. They can't do this. That's why you got Rihanna over there all jealous. Because how am I? Because her faith is the devil. Rihanna's faith is the devil. Okay? I don't like her. And she's always trying to steal from me. And she has not ever put out any music to reach people. She only did her little music thing so that she can do witchcraft. And so that she can steal from people. So everybody, please, don't listen to her. Don't follow her. Don't give that girl any air, space, or time. Because she's stealing from you.
But is that truly the entire story? Or could it be exactly the version they want the public to believe? Because once you start digging a little deeper, the so-called crazy stalker narrative begins to show some cracks. And now people online are bringing back that old interview with Katt Williams, where he warned about situations just like this. According to Katt, he has repeatedly said that when famous figures suddenly die or become victims of incidents, it often isn't random at all. Someone powerful somewhere ends up profiting from the fallout. So that leads to the real question. Who would actually benefit if Rihanna disappeared from the picture? One of the theories spreading online points towards the Live Nation angle. The reason this theory exists is because records show that Ivanna Ortiz currently has an active legal case filed against Live Nation. Now, at first glance, that may not seem connected to Rihanna at all, but some people online believe the link becomes clearer when you remember that Rihanna is signed to Roc Nation and has a long, complicated professional relationship with her former mentor, Jay-Z. Back in 2008, Jay-Z entered a major partnership with Live Nation to launch Roc Nation as a joint venture. In simple terms, Live Nation became the parent company, while Roc Nation operates beneath it as a subsidiary brand. Rihanna remains signed to Roc Nation today for both management and label representation, and many of her touring arrangements have been negotiated by Roc Nation's CEO, Desiree Perez. Interestingly, Desiree is expected to testify as a defense witness for Live Nation during their ongoing antitrust trial. To understand that situation, you have to go back to 2024, when the United States Department of Justice filed a massive antitrust lawsuit against Live Nation, attempting to force the company to separate from Ticketmaster. Government officials claim Live Nation operates as an illegal monopoly that inflates ticket prices and limits fair competition across the live entertainment industry. During a trial like this, both sides present witness lists, and Live Nation's defense attorneys included Desiree Perez among theirs. Her testimony matters because she oversees Roc Nation and has personally arranged many touring agreements involving Roc Nation artists, including Rihanna, with Live Nation throughout the years. Now bring the focus back to the woman who showed up outside Rihanna's house. She is already involved in an ongoing legal dispute with Live Nation, the same Live Nation that controls Roc Nation, and the same Roc Nation whose CEO was preparing to defend Live Nation in federal court. That same executive also oversees Rihanna's touring negotiations. So these connections are not imaginary. They exist in federal court documentation. And that leads to the bigger question: why? Why would someone who supposedly snapped randomly and targeted Rihanna already be fighting a legal battle with the same corporation responsible for promoting Rihanna's tours? And there's another detail that people keep pointing out.
Ortiz didn't arrive driving a worn-down Honda with some old rusty firearm. She pulled up in a white Tesla carrying an AR-15. None of that comes cheap. None of it looks like spare change. So if she truly was just an unstable individual lost in her own delusions, where did those resources come from in the first place? And the bigger question people keep asking is simple. Who actually paid for it?
LAPD taking over the street where for fire at singer Rihanna's home Sunday afternoon. You can see the bullet holes on the gates and investigators placing markers on an Airstream trailer parked inside. Police say the came from an AR-15.
On March 9th, when Ortiz was initially arrested and processed, several major outlets reported that bail had been set at $10.2 million. But this is where the situation starts getting confusing. By the time Ortiz showed up in court on March 10th, the LA County District Attorney's official press release listed bail at $1.875 million. Multiple news organizations repeated that number after the hearing, and later CNN also cited the 1.8 million figure days afterward. So what actually happened? Either the early reports were corrected once the official court paperwork was filed, or the bail amount was quietly reduced. If bail truly started at $10.2 million and later dropped to $1.8 million, that's an enormous reduction that naturally raises questions about what changed during those 24 hours. With all these strange details surrounding the case, a lot of people across social media are now speculating that Ivanna Ortiz may have simply been a psyop. One user on X wrote, "Ivanna Ortiz is the psyop shooting because there is no way you get a bond at a high-profile celeb with her kid in the house. It's much deeper." Another commenter even labeled Ortiz a Hollywood Tesla Manchurian candidate. Many users online now believe Ortiz could have been selected precisely because she already appeared mentally unstable. And if someone wanted to send a person to carry out something like this, they might choose an individual who already has a history of erratic behavior, someone who has already been involved in court battles with the same corporation tied to the intended target. And this is where Katt Williams re-enters the conversation with his argument that nothing inside this industry happens by accident. According to Katt, the individuals pulling the strings behind the curtain need the public to focus only on the surface, so nobody bothers looking underneath. The public sees crazy, accepts the explanation.
I'm saying that everything that happens in a business that's based off of pretend that seems like a setup is. In business, nothing is coincidental, or you will be hearing who's losing money. In all of these situations, it's only the artist that's losing. Somebody makes big money. When these rappers get killed, not incidental. Somebody made $100 million and now don't have to talk to that artist or none of their crew, don't have to validate none of their contracts. Now only got to deal with the mama, only got to see her once a year, and it's over. And the money goes up and up and up. So they killed this $20 million guy, but they reaped $60 million in benefits.
Wow.
And they had some people from your city do it.
So yes, Ivanna Ortiz may have been the person who pulled a trigger, but the bigger question remains, who directed her toward Rihanna's home to begin with? How did she even get access to that address? And this is where another theory currently spreading online enters the conversation, the Epstein files. If you've spent any time on social media over the past few months, you've probably noticed certain names circulating everywhere. In January 2026, millions of pages of documents connected to the Jeffrey Epstein investigation were released to the public. During the frenzy that followed, the name of Jay-Z began surfacing in discussions. His name started trending because of something referred to as an FBI hotline report. Back in 2019, someone allegedly contacted the Federal Bureau of Investigation through an anonymous tip line, and within that tip, Jay-Z's name was mentioned. So now people online are trying to connect the dots. Rihanna is signed to Roc Nation. Roc Nation is owned by Jay-Z. Roc Nation itself operates as a subsidiary under Live Nation, the same Live Nation that Ivanna Ortiz filed a lawsuit against last year. It's also the same Live Nation whose CEO, Desiree Perez, negotiates Rihanna's touring deals and is currently listed as a defense witness in the federal antitrust case where the government is attempting to break the company apart. Now imagine being a massive corporation preparing to face a federal antitrust trial. Would you really want your biggest artist caught up in waves of rumors and speculation? Would you want that level of attention? Or would you rather make sure nobody starts looking too closely at your connections? Of course, all of this remains speculation, but many people across social media are claiming the shooter may have been sent after Rihanna because they see her as a liability. After all, she was brought from her native Barbados to New York City by Jay-Z when she was only 16 years old. And not long after that meeting, she ended up signing a contract with Roc Nation under his guidance.
We signed songs here, we signed artists. And there was this little pause, and I was nervous. But then he said, and we're interested. And there was this sudden feel of relief. But then he said something about a window and a door or something. Oh, then he said, he did it homework. I did a lot of homework on you, this lady. He said, there are two ways to leave here, either through the door with the deal sign or through this window, and we're on the 29th floor.
So when Rihanna was 16 years old, she flew across country, had a meeting with Jay-Z, where he told her there's only two ways out of here, and that's through that door with the deal signed or through the window, and we're on the 29th floor. And she was 16 years old. I don't really see the humor in that.
Dad, I know I promised you I'm gonna give you my first Grammy, but we might have to fight for this one.
She said she want to thank everybody for her first Grammy.
Anyway, I'd like to thank Jay-Z for being a part of this record with me.
She like to thank Jigga Man for being the greatest in the world.
Definitely a strong sense of ego here, which could be in fact rooted by other things, which is probably why Jaguar Wright said, when are we gonna come to the fact that Rihanna was the T word? Traffic.
So, once again, the question remains, how did Ivanna Ortiz, a speech pathologist from Florida, have the means to travel across the country in a Tesla while carrying that weapon? Was the entire incident meant as a warning? Because if the true objective had been to reach Rihanna directly, why stop at the gate instead of attempting to force entry? And if the goal was intimidation rather than harm, then another question appears. Who actually gains the most if Rihanna becomes frightened enough to remain silent? These are just a few of the many questions that no one seems able to fully answer right now. And to be fair, it's also possible that people might be reading far too deeply into the situation. Maybe the simplest explanation is correct. Maybe this truly was a troubled individual who simply snapped in a moment of instability. But considering everything happening across the world right now, from corruption scandals to the fallout from the Jeffrey Epstein files and other controversies, it's understandable why many people hesitate to completely accept the official version of events. So now the real question goes to you. Do you believe Ivanna Ortiz acted entirely on her own, or do you think something larger may be happening behind the scenes? And if someone truly directed her actions, who do you think might be responsible? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and stay tuned for the next video.